Are we on? Who knows? Who knows if we're on? This is my birthday live stream if you're here with me now. And I apologize that, as you guys know, if you've been to the live streams, that I tend to look down at the phone a lot. That's because I use my actual phone to record these, and I use this phone to monitor the comments. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Just to get some stuff out of the way that people obviously have asked me about is I'm 38 years old today, which is cool because as a man, your worth by society is usually measured by your wisdom and your financial stability. So that's why older men don't have the same, decline in their attractiveness as older women do, according to society. Now, I think older women can be beautiful and attractive, and I don't think old men are very attractive. But people typically think that if you're older, that you've got some smarts and you've got some money. Whether or not that's true, that's what society thinks. So I don't mind being 38. Plus, when you're 38 and when you're older and you're like training, you're sparring and shit, you can be like pretty mediocre, but as long as you don't have to like sit out a lot of rounds and you can kind of keep up, people are like, oh my God, you're amazing. You're actually mediocre, but because you're like small and old and weak and frail, people think that that's, better. The barrier for entry to be considered good is much lower when you're older. I really just want to maintain this level of like fitness and proficiency until I'm like 55, and then people will think like I'm some kind of like amazing athlete. When the truth is, I'm just mediocre. I just maintained it longer. I apologize in advance. Oh, what's up, Concord? Stand up, Cackalack. Thanks, Super XP Ninja, for doing that math. Hippo Bird Day, my dude. All right, so I apologize in advance. The way we do this is I try to answer comments. Usually I start at the top and work my way down. And that is how I do it sometimes. What I'm going to do this time, to be fair, that only ever lets the people that get in early get in. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to just kind of, as we go, I'll just pick out ones that like pop out to me, and not just do the ones that are the most recent, because I don't think that's the most fair. Footwork and head movement, my boxing defense, I have quite a few. If you look up defense, I've got footwork for switching stances, and that includes, moving off to the side and sometimes adding head movement, also changing the angle. I talk about footwork and adding in head movement. So a lot of my game is footwork and head movement because I'm trying to stay uninjured. I don't like to get hit a lot. I do get hit a lot, but I don't like to get hit a lot. But there is a lot of stuff already on the channel about footwork and head movement. Tyler Marston, what's up, Esteban? Is cardio kickboxing useful for self-defense? Is cardio kickboxing useful for self-defense? And I'm going to put this, it's funny because I said that we were going to discuss upcoming video ideas in this stream. That is an upcoming video idea. Is cardio kickboxing useful for self-defense? And I can make an argument that cardio kickboxing is the best martial art for self-defense. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Next topic. As a southpaw, is there anything I should change during your stepping forward off angle drill? No, you'll have to get a little bit better at stepping with the lead, stepping the lead to the outside to drop the straight left to the body or to the head. Just go to the body. But ultimately, the highest level, we shouldn't care much what stance we're in. The things we're doing should be either us imposing our will on him or reacting intelligently to what he's doing, or some mix of the two. But if you're in one stance, it's not the same game. So it's smart that you're looking at, like, are things different? Like, a lot of people think that, I just go to southpaw and I just do the same things that the rest of the class is doing in orthodox. No, if they're doing, 1, 2, 3, might need to be doing like something completely different. You know what I mean? You might need to be doing a completely different combo. If they're slipping one way, you slipping that same way is not going to be the same. If the coach is telling all of them to keep their feet planted, you might need to pick your feet up and twist them. So it's smart to look at how things are different, but it's important to understand both sides of that game. Wing Chun infighting can be useful in the clinch or hand fighting while grappling. You should do a collaboration with Coach Brian from Teach Me Grappling. Yeah, me and Coach Brian from Teach Me Grappling have had a recent little bromance. If you guys haven't picked up on that, I've recommended a video on his channel. He gave me a shout out on his channel. I follow his channel a lot. Coach Brian's channel is good, and I'm going to get more into this later. We're going to do a video soon. I'm going to do a video where I recommend other channels, both for striking, grappling, and also for fitness. But Coach Brian from Teach Me Grappling, the reason his channel is good is not because he shows cool techniques. He does show cool techniques. He also shows a lot of like basic techniques, like important techniques you need to know. But more importantly, he shows you how to drill them, which is not super popular. Everyone wants to see super sexy flying, inverted whatnots, but he shows you like how to actually get better at that thing. Like he has an arm drag drill that is like looks like boring, and guys that already kind of know how to arm drag don't want to do it. But we've been doing it extensively, and I think my arm drag has gotten a lot better, and I can actually implement that in my game because I've been doing the drill exactly the way he said it. He has a lot of experience with a lot of knowledge, and I think he's probably, especially as a wrestling base, one of the best grappling channels on YouTube, along with Night Jiu-Jitsu and Invisible Jiu-Jitsu, and I know I'm leaving out others, but I'm going to do a video soon, like the best YouTube channels for each martial art. I'm going to be doing that soon to try to spread the love and give you, somebody else to go check out. As far as that hand trapping question, yes, I think it's very important. I don't think it's sustainable. I think you need to do it to become really good at something that happens for a split second. Like we're exchanging with boxing, we're grappling. There's a split second in between where you can maybe gain an advantage or get your way closer to pummeling for your underhook, or maybe stop the punch from coming in, or maybe get to an angle where you can throw an elbow. With that sort of technique, I think that those martial arts that specialize in it spend a disproportionate amount of time on it. I probably spend too long on it. When I do kickboxing and MMA rounds, I do really well at that range. The problem is that range is a very small percentage of the round, and I don't do as well in the other ranges, like with just the real typical stand-up combination-based kickboxing. I struggle there because I'm always doing hand traps and tricky stuff and dirty boxing, and I'm going to be spending more time on my jab and more time on my classic kickboxing combinations and put that stuff on the back burner a little bit. I think it is important. I think it's going to surface. I think if somebody smart starts coaching some people in this bare knuckle fighting championships, I think we're going to see more of that. Is it better? Hey, what's up, Freddie? Good to see you, man. Missed you already. Is it better to clinch or better to circle when an opponent gets aggressive? Depends on what you're good at. If you're like a sniper with the hands and the feet, you circle out and pop as he's trying to turn around. If you're feeling tired and you want to make him tired and you want to hang on him, wrap him up. It depends strongly on what you're good at, but there's also a meta game too. So like if he knows that you like to clinch and you step off and pop him, or if he thinks, that you're just a runaway type striker and you want to circle in and, duck under and go forward suddenly if you've been running backwards all around. So they're both good. I think you should be proficient at both. Everyone asking me about C-Lot. No, I don't know what C-Lot is. I think a guy in Eternal Champions did C-Lot. That's about all I know about it. I'm going to do a video soon on what do I think about. Can you make a video on stretching and conditioning? I have a strength and conditioning playlist that has a lot of my thoughts on it. So there are lots of videos on it. We're going to do a little bit more. I got to be careful. I can't do too many of them in a row because then the channel starts to tank because people don't actually want to work out. They want to learn how to end a fight instantly. Again, if you're just popping in, I'm not answering. Normally, sometimes I answer the questions in order, but then that's not fair to everyone that comes in late. So I'm going to kind of alternate. I'm going to answer top chat questions first, and I'm going to answer randomly. Today, I'm just answering randomly something that pops out. If I look down and there's something like really cool, that's what I'm going to answer. And then maybe on the next one, I'll start going in order again. But when I go in order, people don't get a chance to get their questions in. After this, immediately after this is not going to be a super long live stream, but immediately after this one, I'm going to go live on Instagram. And that'll give another chance It's at Icy Mike P. There's a link down below. At the end of this, I'm going live on Instagram to give the people that really have like an important question to ask, like all you idiots asking me about dumb shit, which I love. That's why we're here at Hard to Hurt. I want you idiots to ask me about dumb shit because I'm an idiot and I like talking about dumb shit too. But if you got something important, meet me on Instagram right after this at Icy Mike P. And we're gonna do. I'll give the people that are a little more interested a little more time to get something to me. C-Lot. Did you get your AARP card yet? Thanks, bro. My take on Jeet Kune Do, I'm pretty sure I'm a master of Jeet Kune Do. I've never taken Jeet Kune Do, but I think if I went, they would just give me my black belt when I got there. The other day, I kicked my instructor in the balls with a roundhouse kick to the body. His balls are in his body. I'm 6'5" and should have no problem getting my legs higher. What stretches, exercises would you recommend to get higher? High kicks is a function of your mobility, not just your flexibility. Like just doing the splits and being able to do that is not necessarily going to translate immediately into high kicks. You need to strengthen this motion. Oh, God, I don't know if y'all heard that pop. You need to strengthen this motion here, right? Your adduction and abduction, while also working on your flexibility. We'll probably do more of that stuff soon, but that kind of goes in there with strength and conditioning. We got to be careful, man. I would love to first of all, I would love to do stuff like that all day, and I'm going to recommend some fitness channels in an upcoming video to help you with that stuff. I'm not the foremost expert on those things. I'm a certified personal trainer. I do have a lot of experience training people in those areas. But B, it just doesn't, I'll be happy to help people more individually or on a small scale with that, but like big videos on that stuff, there's people I think that do it better than me, and it crashes the channel, man, when I do too much of that stuff in a row. I'm just gonna swing through and let's thoughts on Bella Deary. I don't know, she sounds cute, but I got a woman. So how much sparring a month would you recommend? Opinions differ, and I know you aren't really a fan of sparring for beginners. Thank you again, all you guys, Andrew, everybody, for the birthday wishes. Bruh Miyamoto, I think you should spar as much as it is productive. So at this point, I am learning new things and we're trying them out. I spar very regularly, multiple times a week, with a small, tiny little select group of people. When I have a fight coming up, I go to a different gym with people that don't know all the things that we're working on here, and I go try them and I spar kind of hard once a week for a couple weeks. And then if I stay uninjured, I have the fight. If I get it, but last time I got hurt and I didn't have the fight. But it depends on, if you just are sparring once a week and you have a hard sparring team training type night or a hard sparring night at your gym or dojo or brojo, chances are, what I see at most of the places is just the same dudes beating each other's brains out with the same moves once a week, all the time, with no purpose. That's fun. People will pay for that. People will sign up for that. You can get people on board for that. Situational drilling is much more productive. Getting people to do it is hard. Depends on how much you care about really being good and really getting to that next level. And as long as it's productive, do it. As long as it's safe, do it. I really recommend super light touch sparring the majority of the time. If you're just trying to get in shape and just trying to work on timing, rhythm, and range. Now, when you have a fight in the distance, not too close, but not too far away, you need to get after it and really get in there and see what you're made of. But if you're fighting very regularly, you're probably getting enough work. And if you're not fighting, what's the point? What's the point in getting your ass kicked? I don't know. How old are you? You and Shane needs to collab. I'm 38. Again, I'm 38 in case you missed the beginning of the stream. I'm 38. This is my birthday today. I'm happy to be 38. I feel really good. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. My back feels better than ever. My cardio is better than ever. I'm not as strong as I used to be when it comes to weightlifting, but I feel pretty good when I go to jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, which we're going to talk here soon about. If you had to pick two known MMA fighters, boxers, to take to a bar fight, who should you pick? Stockton, motherfucker. Don't be scared, homie. I take the Diaz brothers with me. Duh. Excellent boxers, excellent jiu-jitsu guys, and they'll throw down, So I'm that's I think you knew that it was the Diaz brothers when you asked that question, Andy, and had I said anything other than the Diaz brothers, you would have thought I was an idiot. Starting Muay Thai at 27, Jean-Michel Gontier. Jean-Michel Gontier. Jean-Michel Gontier. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, dude. That's the cool thing about combat sports is it's scalable and it's individual. Your only competition really is yourself from the week before, unless you have a fight. And in combat sports, there's so many different ways and strategies to win that you don't have to be super fast if you're really smart. You don't have to be very powerful if you're very agile. You know, there's different ways to win, and different ways to be successful and different measurements of success. When I go spar at the other gym, it's all younger guys. Most of them are high-level amateur or professional fighters, and they just kind of kick my ass. But if I can hang in the room with a bunch of 25-year-old professional fighters and, like, I'm not a charity case and I'm not getting, like, too fucked up, I view that as a win. Like, I think it's like if you're a blue belt and you're rolling with, like, really high purple belts or brown belts and, like, y'all are rolling kind of hard and they're just smashing you the entire time, but they can't tap you, that's kind of a win, you know? If you can score a takedown on a guy who's much, much bigger and better than you, and then he whips your ass, that can be a win. So just stay healthy and listen to your body. But 27's like, that's kind of, I think, a prime time to start. You're a little more mature. You haven't put miles on your body. Some of these guys that started real young, and they're starting to get to 30, and they're already broke down. So those guys who start later sometimes don't have as many miles on their body. But we touched on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I wanted to give you guys an update, because if you're watching the live stream, you might be kind of a more engaged viewer of the channel. And as you know, I said in my, New Year's video that one of my New Year's resolutions was to get to 10,000 subscribers, and we're at 30,000. So I appreciate you, and I don't take that for granted. We'll talk more on that in a second. The other one was to get my blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now I had a kickboxing fight that I was signed for fall through because I sprained my ankle, as you guys saw. So I was focusing a little more on that. I had been going to Jiu-Jitsu. Still waiting on Kristen to finish school, so I haven't been able to get to the morning classes because I have the kids with me and can't take them. I've done some jiu-jitsu seminars. I went to 2 of Eli Knight's seminars. I went to a Ryan Brinkman seminar this past weekend. I went to jiu-jitsu some of the 6 a.m.s in the past couple weeks. And I do have a Brazilian jiu-jitsu competition this Saturday. I'm competing at New Breed on Saturday. So I'll probably have some content based off of that. If it goes really well, we'll have some videos. And if it goes really bad, we might have one Instagram post. But show us the Rev Gear final form. I think I will. I think that's a funny concept to, like, go over the top with, like, represented, like, gear by, and I'm gonna put, like, everything on that I can possibly find. That was great. I appreciated that comment. I just understood Icy Mike P. Do you normally not? Do you know Shane from Fight Tips? And if so, would you consider collabing with him? No, I've never heard of that guy, and I don't know him. Thanks, John Michael. Who's Belladiri? Everyone's talking about Belladiri. She sounds kind of like, I don't know. Favorite Rocky movie? Probably I don't know. I didn't mind Rocky Balboa. I like all of them. Even the ones that everyone hates. I don't see anything wrong with them. But I'm also not a snob. Actually, kinda. I'm about to lose subscribers. I don't really love the first one. I take it back. I love the first one, but I like all of them. I like even the more Hollywood-ish movies because I think it's kind of cool to see. The first movie was kind of like a gritty, had that indie vibe, and then as they got more glitzier and Hollywooder, as he got more glitzier and Hollywooder, and then now we've got a little more gravitas as he's aged. I think the tone of the movies followed the story very well. I love them all. Why does everyone who fights in Street Beefs only know how to kick with their dominant leg? They should watch your vids. Well, yeah, probably kicking with the lead leg is really tough. That's a really, really, really hard thing. Like harder than just about anything. The left hook is hard like that to do proper. The lead hook is hard to do like that properly, but it's forced much sooner. You can't have a very rich game without one, but you can get really far without a lead leg kick. But that lead leg kick has been a game changer. I spent 1 year only working on lead leg kick and lead hook. And then I spent 1 year only working on the right uppercut. And now I'm about to spend 1 year only working on the jab. And I think that's the best way to get really good at those things. Older than Mike, still sparring, still loving it. Started Muay Thai at 35. Cool, good to hear. Hopefully that means you didn't have all those miles on your body and you're, able to hang. What belt are you in BJJ? I'm a white belt, man. I've had a white belt for 8 years. Maybe BJJ is not for me. No, I was just kidding. I've just not been consistent with going. I would get to lots of like MMA classes and some no-gi classes and some wrestling classes and did a lot of clinch work. But as far as getting in there in the gi and training specifically Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I have not been consistent. And my instructor looks out for me, and my instructor is Derek Kennington, DK, from the Next Element Academy. He's good to me. He believes in me. He spends time with me. But he's hard to belt under. When he gives out a belt, it's very meaningful, and I appreciate that. So I've never been in a rush to get that belt because he's also not going to put one on you if you're not in class like you're supposed to be, if you're really serious. And I have not been in class. Now, I can make up a million excuses and reasons. Doesn't matter. I've not been in class, so I am still a white belt. Cool thing is I get to compete this weekend as a white belt, which would be fun. Yoga or Noga? Long John, I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh, like do yoga or not do yoga? I like some of the movements from yoga as stretches. I don't like doing yoga because I can't. I should. Maybe I should. I don't know. Yoga's newer than they make it out to be. It's not this ancient mystical art. I like some of the movements for the stretches. As far as holding the poses, it's hard for me with the nerve damage. I can't hold. I shake a lot. Maybe that means I should do it. Maybe that means I shouldn't do it. I don't know. I use some of the stretches like pigeon, downward dog, upper dog, cobra, sphinx, some of those types of poses for the stretching. Any age-specific training you integrated to deal with some joint or injury? Yes. I keep it very simple. I keep it very straightforward. I would love to, there's certain things I would love to be able to do. I don't do too much explosive lateral stuff in my strength and conditioning. I do move a lot like that in my drilling and sparring. That came with experience. If I was less experienced or someone was less experienced and older, I'd probably reverse those. I'd probably have them doing mild, moderate lateral stuff, but never big explosive stuff. If you're older, there's just some stuff that if you can't already do it, you're not going to do. Everyone hates to talk that when someone talks like that, but that's just the fact. Like, what are you training for? If you're older and you have some orthopedic injuries, look at a realistic top end of your performance and think about how long you would have to train to get there and that you would have to stay uninjured during that whole time and factor all that in. Create realistic goals, reasonable goals. Like if you're starting MMA at 40, you are not going to be a UFC champion. Probably 1 in a million, maybe, who's a genetic freak or gets a lucky streak. But if you want to learn to defend yourself and you want a hobby and you're 33 and you're getting to practice a couple nights a week, sit out rounds. I'd say the biggest thing as I get older, I guess maybe this is talking about martial arts training, and we'll get into some strength stuff here in a second. I'm a big proponent of sitting out rounds when you're older and injured. You'll sit out a round, and the younger guys who have a future of neck and spine injuries and tendonitis and, torn meniscuses and all that stuff, they'll tell you, you can't get better if you're sitting out. Well, I can't get better if I'm at home with an injury. So sit out rounds and breathe. Get really good at recovery breathing. Stay really well rested, really hydrated. And if you're not feeling very strong or very like you've got any gas left, don't slap hands with somebody and go and that you don't know them real well. Maybe it's a younger, hungrier guy who can train harder, and then you don't have the strength or muscular endurance to protect yourself. That's the most important thing. You have to be able to protect yourself. And if you're too tired to protect yourself, you could get hurt real bad. So sit out rounds if you got to, and fuck what anybody's got to say about it. Now, as far as strength training and stuff like that, just keep it real simple, compound movement. Make sure your form is perfect. Either have a buddy who knows a lot about strength training or spend the money on a personal trainer and, do some time with a personal trainer so that you are, better able to protect yourself. Let's grab a couple more questions. The questions are happening in the live chat, and I'm just sort of grabbing them as they go. Oh, I got a super chat, but I missed the message. So I appreciate the super chat from whoever it was, but it says retracted. I apologize very much if I messed that up. I don't think I did. Long John. Oh, maybe you just threw me. You just threw a little pit. Long John, you just put a little. You put a little tip in there. I appreciate you, buddy. Long John. Long John is a longtime viewer. He knows a good bit about wrestling. He's very active in the comments. Funny story about Long John. He initially started as a troll that hated me and wanted to like fight me and tell me I didn't know shit about wrestling at Street Beefs. And I was like, yeah, I don't. I'm not good at wrestling. I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu. I know basic rudimentary wrestling. He's like, your wrestling sucks. And I'm like, yeah, man, my wrestling really sucks. He's like, you don't know shit about wrestling. I was like, yeah. He's like, you think you're so, I get it now. I get it. You have a sense of humor. I have one too. And now we're buddies. So that's the story about me and Long John. Not to fight, train for health, not to fight professionally. Yeah, then just keep your goals and everything realistic. Let's grab a couple more questions and we'll talk about some shield tactics and riot control from Kyle Brett. That's interesting. I never worked with the riot type shield. I only ever had like the ballistic shield, which was super heavy and too heavy for me to like realistically carry around. I think riot policing is one of those things, like, it's so specialized, and unless you're in an area where it happens a lot, I don't see them spending a lot of time and money on research on techniques or training to get better at those techniques. I actually, when I was reaching my end of policing, I had a riot control, like, tactic, strategy, whatever, program, system, I guess, dreamt up and keyed up, and but where I lived, it was very rural. We didn't have those problems. But I have a pretty good way to fix riots, especially as they're starting up. Not riots, but like how to disperse crowds legally, constitutionally, but effectively. Because that's usually the problem. Usually the problem with dispersing a crowd or controlling a riot or a gathering, because people have the right to assemble. If you want to do a really good job at it, you have to violate people's rights. And if you don't violate people's rights, you usually can't do a very good job. Which protects people's right to assemble and people's right to free speech, but it makes keeping order very difficult. And I have a plan on how to deal with that, but I don't know what to do with that plan. It's like I'm not in that sphere anymore, so I think I know what to do. And I have the training system for it in the like the plan, but I just don't know how to put it into execution. Master Dan's Carolina Martial Arts, appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to help your channel out. Master Dan over at Carolina Martial Arts is a cool guy. Like, you need to go check him out. As a traditional martial artist goes, he's a really forward-thinking guy. He's very open-minded. A lot of guys who spend a lot of time in those traditional martial arts kind of think, oh, this is it, but he's like open-minded. He's building his YouTube channel, Master Dan's Carolina Martial Arts. We did a video recently, our video on lead leg combo. Go check that out. And he's in it, and there's a link to his channel down there. Let's see if there's any cool questions. I'm gonna try to grab a guy, Bella Deary. What is this Bella Deary thing? I train Samuel Harpole. I train Krav Maga and Jiu-Jitsu. Is that a good combination? My goal is to become a police officer. I'm a police explorer. Currently, I'm 16. Maybe. We always get asked a Krav Maga question, and my answer is always the same. Krav Maga suffers from the fact that there's no competitive Krav Maga, so that means quality control is difficult and it's easy to fake. That's the problem. It's easy to fake Krav Maga. Sort of like it's easy to fake being a combat shooter, or a knife fighter. Like, it's easy to fake shit that you can't regularly get called out on. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, while there are fakes, it has more quality control because it's like, if your instructor doesn't roll, or if he does roll and he's just getting like smashed all the time by people that shouldn't be smashing a black belt, then there's a problem. If you're a boxer, you don't, or conversely with combat sports, even if you yourself can't do the thing, you should be able to coach someone into doing the thing. Maybe you're, like Freddie Roach can't box, but he can make world champions. So Krav Maga, it could be. If you look at some schools, like if you look at Ryan Hoover's Fit to Fight program, they're technically, I think, considered Krav Maga, but their classes are listed as like wrestling, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And it's all evidence-based, like it's techniques and principles and tactics that work on people. Now, it's not theoretical. It's not like, well, if you gouge somebody in the eye, they're going to piss themselves and leave you alone. Maybe, but like if you double leg someone properly, they'll definitely be on the ground. Isn't Krav Maga just Hapkido with a rage issue? It's Hapkildo. The fallacy of free speech is that discriminatory hate speech impedes the free speech of the subjected. We won't get into politics, but you should shout out Master Dan for leaving a comment and adding a separate super chat. I think I did. Or is this old? That's the problem with this method. I'm like way behind on this stuff. Good Krav Maga has sparring or training techniques under pressure, which is kind of a quality control. Yeah. So there are places that do that. That's what I'm saying. Like Fit to Fight does that. But there are a lot of places that don't. It's like, well, we can't train this stuff. Well, it's like you should learn enough control to be able to simulate that stuff. And, you should be able to do that. Again, guys, if you're just coming along, we got 117 people here. I'm not going in order. I'm just scrolling through and grabbing random questions. Unless it's a top chat question, of course, then I'll grab that. But we're going to be wrapping this up soon, and I'm going to hop over to Instagram. So if you have like a burning question that you have to, or some shit you want to talk to me, some negative shit that you got to say to me, hit me on Instagram at IcyMikeP immediately following this. Like as soon as I can walk over there and pick it up, I'm going to jump on Instagram Live. Preferred beard products. I've tried everything and nothing tames this thing. It's scraggly. It's barbed wire no matter what. I've tried all kinds of oils and all the stuff that Kristen uses for her hair and like beard oils from like a professional salon and barber and like tried all the different treatments and now I just kind of let it go. I just wash it with everyone soap and that's it. But MMA style kickboxing or Muay Thai. I missed the BJJ progress. Can I give a quick recap? Yeah, I've been training, not as much as I would like to. I had some injuries and some distractions. I've done a couple Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seminars. I'm still currently a white belt. I hope to have my blue belt by the end of this year because that was one of my New Year's resolutions. The other one being 10,000 subscribers, which, as you know, we have 30,000, which I'm going to properly thank you guys for soon. Peter North, old porn star, enjoying the stream. I want to believe. I want to believe, Peter. Peter, I hope you're still out there shooting ropes, man, if that's really you. Just getting a blue belt in BJJ for self-defense ideal. Getting a blue belt is a great end point if your only concern is if you go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu regularly enough to get your blue belt and then go like once or twice a month after that, or just get rolls in once a month or go to open mat, and then you're doing other combat sports or other martial arts. That is good enough. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community would argue, some of them, but some of them know the truth. After blue belt, you're just training on how to beat other people that train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you have a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, now also, well, you know the Boyd belt thing, every 20 pounds being a belt. So if you want to be able to beat a guy who's 100 pounds heavier than you, maybe you need to go get your black belt. But a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt who's got 1-2, a high cover, I don't see him losing an even fight with any untrained person. I just don't see it as very likely, absent weapons, multiple attackers, ambush, lucky strike, that sort of thing, which we can't prepare for everything. But that is a really good, that's a high percentage, high yield thing. Like, doesn't require a huge time and life investment, and it yields you a lot of results. So I do think so. I didn't know that languages have the same word, but I believe its meaning is. I want to get to Europe. I want to go see the guys from Fight Perfect TV. I want to go see Master Wong. I want to go see Invisible Jiu-Jitsu. There's a lot of people in Europe. I get a lot of messages from people in London and England and Scotland and Ireland, and I went over there as a teenager, and I haven't been back since, but I want to go over there and train and go check out a lot of places. Blue belt is your starting point, in my opinion. Well, your starting point in order to be awesome at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but if you just want to whip everyone else's ass, it's kind of good enough. How important is wrestling? Brad McSavini, how important is wrestling? I don't know. It's a big part of my life, man. I grew up, late 80s attitude era. Me and my dad, I used to think my dad looked like Macho Man. Wrestling is being super important. No, I guess you mean wrestling as far as like for what? How important is it for what? For MMA, super important. For self-defense, super important. For general health and fitness, it's pretty good. Wrestling is awesome. I don't know what else to say about it. I transferred from boxing to kickboxing. Consider that I have problems with flexibility, even though I can land powerful head kicks, but I feel uncomfortable when I do it. Just like anything else, man. You probably felt uncomfortable when you started boxing, man. Just time and reps. If you're just be boxing heavy. Look at the Dutch style of kickboxing. Look at, punch heavy kickboxers that just use the kicks strategically. Make them forget about your legs and then throw your good head kick with power. Wall just turned 44 and got his black belt in Kyokushin a few months ago. Old guys can do it. Yeah, maybe. Byron Vasquez Jr., one of my good buddies. Can the same be said about the inverse? Like, I have very, very limited grappling. I've done it. I can grapple with someone who's never grappled, but I prefer kickboxing. That's enough, right? No. No. No, Byron. It's not. And you know that. It's not enough that you've done it. Now, I'm not saying you have to be an expert in it. If you are a bad mamma jamma with thunder and lightning for hands and, a hailstorm and a tornado for feet, that's cool. And if you're good in a clinch, great. But you have to know how to sprawl. You have to know how to base out. You have to know how to defend at least a rudimentary attempt at a takedown. And then when you fall down, you have to know how to get back up. And you have to know how to get back up with a person on top of you trying to keep you from getting back up. It's easier to do that against someone that doesn't know what they're doing, but you at least need to understand the basic concepts of shrimping to create space, scooting your butt back, digging for underhooks, or framing in order to extricate yourself from underneath someone and stand up, or worse comes to worse, trying to fight your way from bottom. But from your experience in self-defense, what amount of grappling training does a stand-up fighter need? You shouldn't want to go to the ground, which will segue nicely into our last little bit here. You shouldn't want to go to the ground. You shouldn't want to go to the ground. But the problem with that mentality that people have, and I've posted this on my Instagram, you learn how to stay off of the ground and how to get up from the ground once you are there from the same guy that teaches you how to fight on the ground. I want to repeat that. I don't like to do that, but I want to repeat that. The same dude that teaches you how to fight on the ground, and you shouldn't want to fight on the ground, that's the same guy you go to learn how to get up from the ground or stay off of the ground. You learn all those things from the same dude at the same school. That's a fact. There's no one that can teach you better how to stay off of the ground than a guy who's an expert at getting you onto the ground, as long as you're training with the mindset and the context that that's what you want to do. Which brings us into our upcoming videos that we'll talk about. And if I haven't got to your question, I really apologize. I'll check a couple more times for top chats or super chats or whatever they are. Long John, what are you doing? What are you doing, Long John? I talked about you. I appreciate you. You keep popping up. Fight Perfect TV's in the house. As I said before, that's one of the reasons I want to get over to London. They're a great channel if you like. If you were a fan of Jerry Springer and now you watch martial arts content on YouTube, you'll love Fight Perfect TV. You learn how to stay off the ground from the same guy that teaches you how to get people on the ground. Now, when you go to jiu-jitsu, you can train self-defense at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. People think I'm weird when I go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class because when we square up, we slap hands. I stand up. I stand up a little taller, and they're all like this, and I stand up tall. Why? Because I wouldn't fight somebody like this. I'd stand up like this. And yeah, I got a blue belt in front of me that's super low. He's probably going to get me down to the ground. But I practice trying to stop him from a more realistic stance. I touch people's forehead a lot, and in my mind, I'm jabbing them. I just touch their forehead a lot, just check their forehead a lot. When I get to the top, I circle, I try to get knee on belly, I try to cross face them, try to get side control, put the shoulder to them, I try to get up, and I'll stand up a lot. They put their feet on me, I'll pass their guard, or not, or get swept or whatever, but then I'll stand back up. If I get takedowns, or if I get taken down, I'll try to retain guard, shrimp, and I'll stand back up instead of going for things. Unless I can't, then I'll attempt a submission. And a lot of times I spank, and what that does, that makes it super hard for me. Like I get beat a lot because I'm not trying to play the same game as them, but I'm trying to train something different. I'm trying to train from a self-defense standpoint. So the same skills apply. You just have to have the right mindset and context in your training and go in there with the right purpose. And let me just check for a couple more top chats. My beard's way better than Brad's, Joe. Fact. But I appreciate all you guys. Again, if I did not get to something and it's important, as soon as I hang this up, I'm going to jump on Instagram Live for about 15 minutes and take any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, trash talk, you want to cuss me out or whatever. Upcoming video ideas, we're going to be doing some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu content. Not like, here's how to do an armbar, because I don't really care about doing videos like that, and I know that that's not what the Hard to Hurt viewers want to see, but more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the context of self-defense. Why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu sucks for self-defense. I'm going to be doing some impressions of some really big Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu personalities. I've been working on them for a while. You notice the impersonation stuff has been kind of quiet. I'm trying to perfect a couple of them at the same time, and I got to plan it all out with the beard and everything. But I am going to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition this weekend. We also have an upcoming series on, I'll leave you with some of the titles, and you guys, one that we touched on in the beginning, in case you missed it, was cardio kickboxing is the best martial art for self-defense. That's going to be the title, and it's not clickbait. That's my opinion, and I can make a case for it. And I know people are like, what? Other upcoming videos is ground and pound for self-defense. That might come out Wednesday. Another one is attacking people from behind for self-defense and throwing the first punch for self-defense. And that's going to be kind of the theme in the upcoming month or so. All clickbait sounding titles that end up not being clickbait. Because as you guys know, I can make a case for almost anything. I'm going to check one more time. Oh, here's a super chat, top chat, or whatever it's called. Or what are they called? Super chats. From James Shackelford. Thoughts on just learning judo throws for self-defense. So I've recently been corresponding with Nick and Cy Collier from the Collier Method and their dad. I think judo's really cool. The problem with just learning judo throws is to learn judo throws, you have to get thrown. So if your concern is only self-defense, that's going to be a kind of hard road. It's hard to get really good at judo without taking some bumps and bruises. I think judo's cool. I think it's very effective, and I think against an untrained person with no core strength and no neck strength and no base and no understanding of, balance and posture, I think you should fuck somebody up with it. But getting good enough at them requires some sacrifice. Then we have to deal with, I don't know enough about the judo ground game, how it works. I know in competition they fight on the ground some, but I think they don't stay on the ground. I'm not exactly sure. But the judo throws for self-defense, I use two. There's two. I wouldn't even call them judo throws because I didn't learn them in judo. I learned one just by happenstance and just fighting with people as a police officer and doing MMA rounds. I learned one that's my go-to. I wouldn't even call it a judo throw. It's like more a trip. And there's another one. I do a little bit of a hip toss, but I didn't learn it in judo. So I'm reluctant to even call them judo throws. I think knowing two judo throws is important, but knowing only the two judo throws, on just learning judo throws for self-defense, I don't know. Yeah, Jacob, everyone's got to take the bumps to get good, unless you can pay someone. Long John, you're on the right track. Well, Long John, I'm sorry I missed whatever your super chat was, but hit me up. You got my line. You you know where I'm at. Happy birthday to me. Thank you so much. Thanks, FightHard13. Thank you, everyone, for your birthday wishes. I'm going to be closing this down. I'm jumping immediately on Instagram Live. There's a link down in the description below. As always, if you want more fitness tips, self-defense techniques, gear reviews, as well as concepts and principles that make you hard to hurt, make sure you are subscribed and turning on notifications. Links down below to my Instagram. It's at IcyMikeP. In about 2 minutes, I'm going live on Instagram. If I did not get to you, I apologize profusely, and I hope to see you over there on Instagram.